When asked what is my superpower is patience.
What motivated you to write this novel, and what is special about this novel?
I used to travel to countries, so I traveled a lot. And I will go into a city, and in every city I'll go to, I'll try to find a local author that has written a fiction in the city. So I would go and buy those novels, and I have a substantial collection of them. And I'll try to read the novels while I'm in the city. So the city lives with me, and I live with the city in a fictional story.
And I want to welcome a very dear guest for CUD and a dear friend, Dr. Adil Alzarooni. Dr. Adil is a serial entrepreneur, a very successful businessman that I really look up to.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to have him with us at CUD to launch his novel. It's really an honor to have a guest of this caliber with us at the university. And I can't wait to get started and for you to get to know Dr. Adil. Dr. Adil, who is Dr. Adil? Can you tell us, in a nutshell?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time joining us today, joining me in a special moment of launching a novel. My name is Adil. Ismail Abdul Wahid Abdul Rahim Abdul Wahab Muhammad Saeed Alzarooni. So you can call me that.
That's the first time.
Very typical Emirati name. So you can call me Adil. I currently run around 3 groups, 2 family offices. Basically, I'm in few fields: healthcare, education, financial services, consumerism technologies, FMB, FMCG, and fintech and venture studios. I'm lucky to be also on the board of few universities, one of which is
This
CUD.
university.
And probably some of you might recognize a school that I built, which is Citizens, just across the road. I have produced 3 books, 2 of which were scientific books. One is on sustaining family offices, which is where what I did my PhD on, and the other one is called Developing Economic Zones, which is a field that I functioned in for a decade. And this novel, the Red Island, is 10 years in the making. So when asked what is my superpower is patience.
Really?
Yeah.
The most important.
Superpower, yeah. So I was lucky to finish it at last. It is a very different experience. Writing a fiction book versus a scientific book is a much scarier journey. And but thanks, I had a lot of support, and it's out now. Yeah.
So congratulations on your amazing novel, The Red Island. We're here to really talk a little bit more about this novel. And I know it's not easy to write a novel. So I want to ask you, what motivated you to write this novel, and what is special about this novel? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Thank you. So I'll have to admit that I have very talented friends. So I had this gang that came out that we formed at the college days. I'm a graduate of telecoms. So I used to be a telecom engineer, a hacker actually for telecom companies. And I had a lot of smart colleagues of mine, one of which became a very established and a famous author, a novelist. Although he has a PhD in artificial intelligence, and that was 20 years ago. So you can imagine somebody with PhD in artificial intelligence 20 years ago. But he is quite an established novelist, and one of his novels became a series, and it became a hit around 5 or 6 years ago. So a lot of my friends are actually authors. Some are novelists, some are poets, and so on and so forth. So they influenced me, and we have this nice, healthy relationship where we support each other and we push each other. Yeah. So I was the only one of them that was not an author. So I
So
said, you
you
know what?
decided to become one.
Let's try to investigate. It goes against my nature. I'm more of the business guy, more of the technologist, more of the startups, and but then I grew into reading novels. I started liking reading novels, and I started liking to learn from novels that teach you something. I stopped reading scientific books, and I stopped reading economic books and encouragement books, like self-development books. I thought I was in self-developed already, so let me go into more fictional novels and books that were way more interesting, I have to say. I used to travel to countries, so I traveled a lot, and I will go into a city, and in every city I'll go to, I'll try to find a local author that has written a fiction in the city. So I would go and buy those novels, and I have a substantial collection of them. And I'll try to read the novels while I'm in the city. So the city lives with me, and I live with the city in a fictional story. And then at a point in time, I wondered, why isn't there a novel of the kind in the UAE? So we get a lot of tourists, we get a lot of foreigners living in the country, and many of them will spend years without meeting a local. Will spend decades in the country without really understanding our culture as locals. Emiratis, we are quite, I wouldn't call ourselves shy, but we are quite isolated as a community. We we have our own traditions, our own habits. We keep very quiet usually. We keep to ourselves. We have our own cultural peculiarities, basically. So I thought, is there a room for developing a novel that will give you an experience in the country, visual experience, will give you a social traditional experience of Emirati culture, and added to it Islamic culture, because they are inseparable, in a fiction. I've chosen the Red Island, which is Al Jazirah Al Hamrah in Ras Al Khaimah, to be a scene of a universe. So I tried to create this fictional world, a universe of its own, that could deliver all of these, and add to them, and across the whole novel, a discussion point on the concept of love. So there are a lot of human concepts that are really just peculiar. They are very human in nature. We don't share them with many other creatures, and one of which is love. There are other concepts like success, and there are concepts of happiness. They are very human concepts. They are not very real. So with that, I wanted to discuss a concept of love, and I tended to the concept of love using the novel also. And to my surprise, it has been receiving great reviews till now, so I'm quite shocked of myself.
So
And
all 5-star reviews, and congratulations. It really takes courage for somebody who is a businessman to switch gears and to write a novel. So give us a flavor of this novel. What does it tell us about UAE society? Like, what insights, like maybe if you want to summarize, but maybe you can give us like a flavor of some key insights that a reader will get from reading this novel.
so I'm assuming that a lot of readers have never experienced Quran.
Yes,
So
probably.
so each chapter starts with a Quranic ayah, basically, and the chapter would relate to the ayah. So one of the most interesting book that you would read that has a lot of interesting stories is actually Quran. So a lot of people that have never experienced Quran would not know how interesting it is to read through Quran a lot of interesting stories. So with that, I am trying to make clear actually to the audience that it's an interesting book to read through. Add to that, and linked to the same to Islamic culture. So Muslims, for example, uh, believe in not only the existence of humans or jinns or angels, they also believe in an unseen creature, which we refer to as jinns. And jinn in the Islamic belief system are creatures of fire. Angels are creatures of light, and humans are creatures of mud, basically. So I'm putting a lot of that reflection into the novel. And then within the novel, you'll see a lot of cultural elements that are to do with locals. How do they deal with each other? How families are structured and constituted? How the Marathi culture foresee families? How does it see the concept of love and marriage and building and dealing with other cultures? And the interaction between fiction and reality within Emirati storytelling narrative, basically. All that put though is in an English novel, which is apparently very, very rare. This is why I couldn't get any support really, because there's no infrastructure to cater for Arabic writers or Middle Eastern writers that write in English.
Very nice. So a little bit of Islamic culture, a little bit of UAE culture weaved into this novel. And also you mentioned something about love. Give us like some insights about like a summary, like flavor of how do you touch on love through your novel?
So love as a concept is, because it's a concept, it's not
It's not
it's a human invention. No two people will agree on a definition of what love is. So if you go through the novel, you'll find tens of definitions. It depends on your personal perspective of love. How do you foresee love? And many a times, where are you in the journey of a relationship? Whereby then the definition of love differs. Only to come to a realization that love is really a very personal concept. Everybody tries to influence what love means. Since we were born, we were influenced by songs and by movies and by the stories of our friends and the stories of novels and the stories of. You always hear somebody talking about what love means. And is there any right definition of love? The answer is not really. But there's also no wrong definition of love. A lot of that, at the end of the day, as humans, how do we perceive any emotion is mainly due to a mix of hormones in our brains. So what triggers what in our brain would define how do we perceive life as it is, including the concept of love or happiness or success and so on and so forth.
I want to thank Dr. Adil, and I want to say congratulations on his novel. It takes courage when you're a businessman to become a novelist. So I couldn't do it. So congratulations.